Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world watching. I'm Judy Waxman, president of the Sharon-Stoughton chapter, and I'm very excited to be able to introduce you to a few very important people from Youth Aliyah. We have Lauren Kedem from the Youth Aliyah Village Mayor Shafaya. And she is the, if I get this correct, the English coordinator, public relations. She wears many, many hats. We have Etgar, who is a graduating senior at the village, and we also have Annette Epstein, who is our VP of Philanthropy of the chapter. And today we're going to just talk a little bit about the history of Youth Aliyah, how it's evolved over the years, and what's going on now during this COVID-19 crisis. And it's just going to be a very informal discussion, and hopefully you'll learn something about Youth Aliyah and why it's important to support Youth Aliyah. So, Lauren, do you want to go first and start to tell us about?
Yeah. I want to, in advance, thank you. I'm so grateful for you and Annette and your chapter deciding to give this attention. It's really important to us, and I hope it's really important to you. The reason I think it's really important to your members and Hadassah members is this, is Youth Aliyah began in the 1930s when Henriette Epstein began rescuing Jewish children from Nazi Germany. 11 years after the creation of Hadassah in 1912, Henriette Epstein was given the lands that Shveya is built on as a gift by the Baron Rothschild. And Hadassah is actually the only property and Shveya is actually the only property in Israel that belongs to Hadassah. The other youth villages don't belong to you, they belong to the state. The hospital doesn't belong to you. The land that it's built on doesn't belong to you. Shveya belongs to Hadassah, and it always has. And one of the things that I really hope will come across, and that is important for me for your members to understand, is that I want you to feel like Shveya is yours, and these children are connected to you. In Hebrew, we say shalanu. Shalanu is, it's ours. And this is literally your village. So Henriette Epstein in the 1930s began to rescue Jewish children. And from that time until now, we continue, Mayor Shveya and Hadassah Nuri, to provide a home and a school and an education and values to new immigrants. About 1/3 of our residential students now are, even a bit more than that, are new immigrants, to children at risk. And in addition to that, we also educate another so we have 300 residential students, and we have another 300 residential students who are bussed in and out every day, who have chosen to go to our school. So we now serve 300 Israeli kids from all over the country, of all backgrounds, Jews, Druze, Muslims, Russians, Ethiopians, kids from all over the country who come to Shveya because they've been referred to us from Youth Aliyah, from the Department of Social Services. They're kids who have often been unsuccessful in other educational environments. They're kids who need to be out of their families in order to have the freedom to be children and to explore their own needs, and to be able to focus on their education, and also to break cycles of poverty and sometimes more serious problems that kids have that they've sent to us. So these are the kids who are in the village now. a month and a half ago, I think, I don't know why March 16th is the date in my mind, when the schools were closed in Israel in response to the increasing contagion of the coronavirus. So we sent home all of our residential kids who had homes they could and wanted to go to, and our external kids went back to their home. And since that time, all of these kids have been studying on Zoom with their teachers, who have been working full time, except for like 10 days of the Passover vacation, when the kids and the teachers had a break from teaching, even though they were still in touch with one another. There's two groups of kids who this became a difficulty for. One group was 70 Nale students. Nale students are new immigrants from the former Soviet Union who were supposed to go home to their families during the Passover vacation, and we wanted to send them home at the beginning of the coronavirus. So because all of the flights were canceled and travel restrictions, these kids have now, for a month and a half, well, even before a month and a half, but while the rest of their friends and the students have been home, have been, I don't want to say stuck in the village because this is their home, but they are indefinitely now at the village and unable to go anyplace else. So these 70 kids, while the rest of the kids went home, continued to study on Zoom with their teachers. Their residential staff who live at the village were there to help them and support them, and they had sports activities with social distancing and studying, and ate meals with social distancing in the dining room, and carried on some of the usual activities that they would engage in. In addition to that, the amazing stories of what went on is, before, this was for most of these kids, this was their first Passover in Israel. It was their first Holocaust Remembrance Day in Israel. It was their first Remembrance Day for fallen soldiers, and their first Yom Ha'atzmaut, Independence Day in Israel. These kids, new immigrants who some of them barely know Hebrew, although we do also have, I think you showed the clip of them singing a tikva in Hebrew on your broadcast yesterday.
Yes.
So these kids have been recruited, and they were working in the kitchen with the staff, and for more than a month now, they have been preparing meals, which they themselves don't distribute, which staff members distribute to Holocaust survivors who they have been, other students have been volunteering with for more than a year and a half, visiting them every week, listening to them, speaking to them, asking them questions. They've been preparing meals for senior citizens who are by themselves in the nearby community. And about 2 weeks into the quarantine, after we sent kids home, what we also discovered, this is the second group of students now at risk, is a lot of our students, residential students who we sent home, were in touch with their counselors and with staff members of the village, and they were in distress because many of the families don't have enough food. Crowded conditions, where these are kids who have lived for 3, 4, 5, some of them 6 years at the village. Fair for many of them is their first home. And they were in distress for many financial, sometimes emotional reasons, and needed our help. So what we started doing, what we've been doing for about a month now, and the director of the village is committed to doing this indefinitely, as long as we can afford to do it. We have been every week sending care packages of food to these families. Staff, they're prepared in the village kitchen with the help of some of the kids. Staff members drive to the communities where these kids live, meet them in the parking lot of their building. The kid takes the package and brings the food to their family. These are one of the things we're doing.
Wonderful.
So that helps a bit and continues to help, but it wasn't enough, because many of these kids, one of them, and we'll soon introduce Etgar, is one of the kids who wanted to come back. A lot of these kids, they wanted to come back to Shveya. So last week, with the approval of the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health, we received permission to start accepting our 11th and 12th grade students who our 12th grade students are preparing to graduate in another few months, and our 11th grade students have end of the year exams they have to take. So starting last week, and we finished the process this week, we have brought back almost all of our 11th to 12th grade students who are living in groups of about 10 kids in a group, I think. Etgar will correct me in a moment if I'm mistaken, with a counselor who has agreed to quarantine him or herself in the building with these kids for 2 weeks. These kids are not allowed out of their buildings. The food is delivered there. And after 2 weeks, they will be allowed to use the village facilities, continue to study as they have been now. There is talk, there hasn't been a decision yet about possibly opening the schools physically and allowing some of the teachers to come back. There are no visitors allowed at Shvei at this time in order to guarantee that the kids remain safe. And that's what's going on now. So we continue while the rest of the country is slowly opening up. We are functioning and helping the kids who are most at need. One of the kids, again, who he will tell you, I hope, a bit of his story, Etgar chose to be at Shvei. He's the one who initiated going there, not his parents. He's been at the village for 2 years. And if this is the proper time, maybe Etgar can tell us a bit about how he got to Shvei, why he came to Shvei, what it means to him, and what he's experienced in recent times.
That'd be great.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Here's Etgar.
So first of all, I want to say thank you very much for having me, for giving me this opportunity to talk and express myself. It really means a lot to me and to this place, to this youth village. This is my second year here. I'm a senior in the May1 school, living in May1 youth village. And I came here after I was basically a homeless for 4.5 months. I have a very specific relationship with my family, which caused me to leave home. And after searching for a solution and what I'm going to do from now on, I got to the department which sends kids to boarding schools and youth villages. And it was very close to the beginning of the school year, so I didn't really have much of an option. And when they said, we have May1 for you, I was like, all right, let's go with it. And as I'm sure every other kid, I was in the beginning a little bit of scared. What is this place? How does it work? Because I was at normal school before that. But then I realized, because we don't have that word in Hebrew, but you guys in English have that. The differences between a house and a home. They gave me much more than just 4 walls and a roof. This place gave me the opportunity to work on myself, the opportunity to love myself, the opportunity to take and give, and it's something that I will be eternally grateful for Shvei. And after 2 years in this place, right now being a senior, and I look back at all the time here and I'm thinking to myself, well, that's it. I'm going to leave soon. I'm going to have the army and then start my own life. And it's tempting, but on the other hand, I'm like, how can I leave this place? This is my home, and it's been my home for 2 years. And when the whole coronavirus started, and just out of nowhere, they told us, you can't come back. You need to go back home unless you have to. And I was like just ripped out of this place. And after 2.5 years that I haven't been at home for more than straight 4 days, 5 days, I found myself back at home for 1.5 months, which was really challenging, but at the same time, it was a very good thing, because the distance did the work between me and my family, and we were able to communicate way better. And when my counsel called me and said, we have an option to get you back to Shvei if you want to, I did not even think twice, because I felt like I didn't say my goodbyes, and I was worried that I'm going to be able to get back here by the end of the year. And as soon as he called me, I said yes, packed up my things, and on the next morning there was a bus waiting at my home to pick me up to Shveya. And we got here. We're quarantined in the moment for 2 weeks. It's been already 10 days, about 10 days. And if you ever been to a 5-star hotel, this is basically like that. We get everything we need. We don't go to the dining hall because we can. They bring the food to us. They bring us whatever we need, whether it's simple things like shower gel or toothbrush, whatever we need, it's here. And of course, we have our great counselor here with us, which helps a lot. And we play games. They brought us a new PlayStation 4, which is good, and a ping pong table. And even though we're not allowed to walk around the youth village, we are allowed to go outside for about 100 feet from the building, which gives us the opportunity to have a little bit of fresh air, look at the great environment around Meir Shveya. And for many people, when they hear what being quarantined in school, that sounds horrible for every kid, but no, it is amazing. And they just take care of us, and it's not something that is understandable. It's really, really out of love and out of a want to give, and that's something that I haven't seen in many other places. And I have a lot of friends in the schools.
Etgar, look what you're doing.
Oh,
Verklempt is my middle name.
about it.
Very,
Very heartwarming.
very moving, very touched. You don't have to be a member of Hadassah or know what Youth Aliyah means or says to be able to just listen to you, Etgar, and feel the emotion and the importance. I think especially anybody that's a parent, to hear a child, express themselves the way that you just have it's just very touching. And I know, I have 2 children, I have 4 grandchildren, and it breaks my heart to know that they're going through this. But I'm hoping at the end of all of this and moving forward, it's going to make everybody a better person and make everybody appreciate the things that we have, and not take as many things for granted. So,
Very well.
Annette, why don't you tell us about your visit to Meir Shveya, because I can't speak right now.
I had the opportunity for Lauren, who is with us today, to take me on a beautiful tour of Meir Shveya. I got there mid-morning, and we walked around a little bit of the campus. We saw the teacher's room that was buzzing with all the teachers in there. And then we actually got to go to a classroom in which the assignment was for the kids to take a picture, any kind of picture anywhere in Meir Shveya, that represents something of what it means to them, what Meir Shveya means to them. And it was a beautiful, we weren't there for the whole class, but we were there enough to see some of the interesting pictures that were taken. And, some were out of the box and some were, just directly with direct meaning. It was very nice to see how the kids interacted. The campus is beautiful. I enjoyed every minute I was there. And of course, having Lauren as my guide made it really that much better. Yeah. Because she could give me all the background information at the time that we were actually walking through the area. I loved also leaving the school area where the classrooms are, and seeing the mastala. Well, they have a refet, which is the dairy farm where they keep cows, and the kids have classes that work there. They learn how to milk, as I did when I was on a kibbutz, and how to work with animals. And then also we saw their gift shop. We saw a little zoo that they have. As you know, the kids also have, that are interested, go funnel into making wine, soaps, grow herbs. It was very, very interesting. I wish they could take it up a level so that we could import their makings here.
I know. There's been some
But
interest
that's a
in
whole nother
that.
ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also saw some of their living areas, the dormitory areas. Also of note that they also take in young adults, not children, young adults who are from other countries and are coming from their countries to do their army service. So that's the lone soldiers, and they have a house for them there as well. I think I've got it all. It was a magical day. I really urge anyone who is visiting Israel, either be on a mission or is there for other reasons, to arrange a visit at the Youth Village. It is absolutely amazing.
Hopefully we'll be able to get back to doing that.
I hope soon.
But we'll, hopefully.
I think it's not going to be, my prediction, I don't think it's going to be that long until it's safe to be in Israel. The problem is going to be making sure who visits is healthy.
Right.
And
That
look
was one
forward
of the
to when-
questions I was going to ask is, has anybody at the village tested positive for COVID-19?
Not that, do you hear anything, Etgar? Not that I know of.
There are prepared buildings for kids who were found positive for COVID-19, but as much as I know at the moment, nobody got a fever or any other kind of symptoms.
Yeah. People who, just like, people who come into Israel are now quarantined in these, they're called Corona hotels, where I understand they're actually allowed to roam around freely because they're all already have the infection, as long as that they're not sick, because we have the infection and not be sick.
And
What I haven't felt is that the kids, when they go in the dining room, even before they closed the villages, everybody had a gel in the dining room and temperatures were checked. And when the kids came in, right when you came in last week, they have one of those thermal thermometers to check to make, at least make sure that people don't have a fever. But again, I understand that the village is not hermetically sealed. Visitors, including staff who don't live there, aren't permitted in, including me. I hope I get back really soon, that Yoram lets me in order to protect these kids. This is I don't know what if I want to be a dramatic and say life and death, but healthy or not, their health is our total responsibility. Their well-being is our total responsibility. And the village is taking that very, very seriously. And again, I hope, and what Etgar says is, I don't know what it's like to be in a building because I have to walk my dog for 2 weeks, and you don't see the cows, and you don't see the dining room, and you don't see your friends. But what I understand from Etgar and what I hear from the director is the kids are having fun. The kids are together with their friends. They're studying, they're in touch with their counselors and their teachers. And for them, for many of us, I think for adults, it's traumatic and terrifying. And I truly hope that all of the kids who are experiencing this remember this as an experience. And Etgar, again, you're so articulate and have such beautiful thoughts and feelings. And remember this as an experience where they were surrounded by people who cared about them and loved them and were keeping them safe. That's what I hope for them.
Etgar, do you have any aspirations of what you want to do after Youth Aliyah, after Army? What are
Definitely, I definitely
enjoy?
do. And I actually can give the credit to the youth village for changing my mind about it, because for a very, very long time, I thought I'm going to go and learn biology and be a biologist. I always had that dream to work in the CDC, but because of Shfeya and because of everything I went through here, I realized that for me, at least the way I feel, my true calling is education. I want to go learn education because I realized that kids are they are the gates to a better reality. Because while we're only 20% of the population, we're 100% of the future. And if that ain't something,
Whoa, Etgar.
I need to write that down.
That's going to be on a poster.
I need to hang on, wait.
We've got that on film.
Although
That's beautiful.
say that again.
they say I go around with words.
Children are, is that what you said? Children are what percent?
Can you quote that again?
You remember what you said?
All children are only 20% of the human population. We are 100% of the human future.
I'm having T-shirts made of that. Children are only 20% of the human population, but 100% of the future.
100% of the future.
Oh my God. You know, they say,
yeah, education, Edgar, maybe philosophy, maybe politics. There's so many things you can do.
Oh,
I'll stick with the simple one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, it's not simple. It's very worthy. You'd be great at it.
It is a higher calling.
Well, Edgar, I want to tell you that you've educated me already.
Glad I had the opportunity.
So you have already begun on your lifelong career in education. So you're on your way. Unless there's anything else, I think that you might like to share with us. I think that this has been amazing. We typically, our chapter has an event that we do in the fall called Godmothers, which specifically goes towards raising funds for Youth Aliyah. Last year we did an additional opportunity to sponsor a book and to help populate your library. This year's, what we're going to do is kind of up in the air. We're going to actually be having a meeting next week to figure out what we're going to do with our fall events. But this has been so powerful for me.
And inspiring.
That if we can arrange it, if it'll be possible, that maybe we could Zoom you guys in and have you be part of whatever it is that we do. I think it would really benefit the membership and ultimately Youth Aliyah, because we'll be educating everyone more about what's going on and the personal connection. I mean, you know, like I said, I've been a member since the 70s. And this is the first time I'm actually making a personal connection with Youth Aliyah. I mean, I've known Carol Goodman Kaufman for maybe 4 or 5 years, and so that was for me very great because she knew so much about it. But you guys are Youth Aliyah. You are what it is that we learn about and talk about and work towards to support. So this has been. I don't even know the words. I'm like at a loss. It's just been amazing to have you and really appreciate you taking the time. Our hearts, just please know, our hearts are with you always. And as much as we do, it's never as much as I would like to do. So we will be continuing to find ways to support you in any way, in every way that we can. Annette, do you have anything final to say? Or?
אני רק רציתי להגיד לאתגר תודה, כל הכבוד לך, זה היה מצוין, ותודה. שיהיה לך
All
שבת
mine.
שלום טוב.
I got the toda, I know that. So thank you again, both of you.
ותודה ללורן.
A pleasure, absolute pleasure meeting you. I hope one day we'll get to meet in person. Edgar, I just wish you every success. Please tell your fellow students that they're in our hearts. We wish everyone to be well and to stay safe. Toda rabah.